All right, Paul, what's going on?
Um, we've just taken the mini metal foundry and put some biochar in there, and we're waiting for that to get hot, and then we're gonna put the crucible on top, put some more charcoal around it, and then hopefully melt some aluminum.
Absolutely. So this is by Russell Watrous here at Rosebud Continuum Sustainability Education Center in Land O'Lakes. A little bit of lighter fluid to start it out, some biochar in there, a handmade crucible that we learned from King of Random. King of Random is a great great YouTube channel. Great guys over at King of Random teaching us how to do stuff. This is plaster of Paris sand. Is that right?
That's right.
And no mesh in it here. And then you've got that tube. You're going to put that 1-inch pipe in. We're live. Why don't I run and get the gloves while this is doing that? And I'll be right back. Everything is on King of Random's YouTube channel, and he has the parts list. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be melting aluminum cans. And my wife and I do not take out the garbage, so what you can see here are we keep our garbage for over a year at a time. So on our wedding anniversary, we made the proclamation and dedication that we were going to hang on to 100% of our so-called waste and keep it by our home and then figure out what to do with it. So we've been accumulating a bunch of bubbly sparkling water cans, as you can see here. Normally we crush them, but it's not necessary for this, right? We just drop these in because it's made to hold the can. So we won't have to go. Usually, just for volume's sake, you know, we crush them and throw them in here, but maybe we won't have to do that from now on. All right, so I'm gonna go get some gloves. I got these off of Amazon. Again, it's on King of Random YouTube channel. He has 2 great videos, and then he has links where on Amazon to get the gloves and an apron. And I suggest anybody who goes near it should be wearing the apron and wearing glasses, because if you have a pop of molten aluminum, as you were saying, Paul, it'll melt right through your skin.
Well, it'll definitely stick on your skin, and it's at 1220 degrees Fahrenheit.
So I think the gloves were like 20 bucks a pair, something, and then the apron I think was like 40, maybe something like that. But at least that'll help protect some. All right. So, nice little apron there. I'll go get the gloves, and you can stay on live as you want to keep putting lighter.
Yeah, we're gonna need to soak that up. Actually, let's throw a few of these larger chunks on
It
there.
needs to be relit. Get the lighter here. Am I gonna kill myself doing this?
Just keep your head back. You'll be fine.
There we go. All right, be right back. Talk to people.
Okay. All right. So, this mini foundry was it's 2.5 times the size of the one that was done by King of Random. It's a 6-gallon bucket. His was 10 quarts, so 6 gallons is 24 quarts. I used paver sand instead of play sand, simply just because I had the paver sand around the house. And then Lowe's gave me 6 of these. They were like displayed trash cans that they had laying around, so I ended up using that as the inner cavity, and then cut the top off with a Dremel. And then the crucible, just like in King of Random's video, is a fire extinguisher, the bottom of a fire extinguisher. This one's a little bit bigger in diameter. It's 4¼ inches. I think the one that he had was a 3-inch in diameter fire extinguisher. So what we're doing right now is we're just trying to build up a charcoal base, so that there's hot coals beneath the crucible, so that when we put it in there, the bottom will get hot, because we can continue to add charcoal to the sides of it, but we can't continue to add it to the bottom. So I think we got it going good now. Once it burns down into some hot red coals, we'll put the crucible in, and we'll melt some aluminum. This right here is the piece of aluminum from the first time I fired it up. Came out in the mold. This was from about 5 or 6 soda cans. Now this isn't the only thing that came out, and part of that is because I got some organic material. I got some of the charcoal in there, plus the crucible wasn't really cleaned out well. So there's part of this. This was the other part that was left in there, which is, it's mostly aluminum, but there's also other stuff mixed in between. So yeah, we might get that. We'll see what our product ends up looking like today, now that we've kind of already fired it up one time. I'm going to, at this point, hook up the blower and start blowing a little bit of air in there. Let's get this lighter fluid away. And so here's the rest of our setup. I use a ladder and the hair dryer with the HVAC, the metal HVAC tape. You can see kind of the edge of the galvanized rod I used just to keep it straight. And right in between here is a piece of stainless downpipe, which is what you would have normally, goes from like your bathroom sink, the bottom of your bathroom sink, into the rest of your plumbing. And I had some of those materials laying around, so I used them. Let's see, trying to. Okay, this is plugged in. All right, so now I'm gonna insert the pipe. Now, last time I put it really far in there, but a little bit of experience, I know that if I do that again, it's gonna prevent us from getting enough charcoal on that side. So I'm going to not do that this time. Let me just go ahead. Sorry, I had to set it down for a second to get that slip fitting in there. Okay, right there. And I think so. That's on low, and now it's firing.
Turned on the blower? What point did you do that?
I turned it on once I could start seeing the coals turn white and a little bit red, just because I didn't want to blow it out. But once it's got the coals are fired, go ahead and turn the blower on, and it'll immediately start burning really hot.
Did you put it on the hot setting of the blower or the cold?
Oh, there's only one setting. It's like drying hair.
So it's hot air.
It's hot air.
This doesn't have a cold air setting. Okay. Not that it would matter, I don't think.
It doesn't. It doesn't have a cold air setting.
Because some do, they have a cold air setting. All right, so we're almost 10 minutes in, and got some good coal action going on there. So you saw it like glowing, a little bit of glowing ember with white on it, and that's when you said, okay, now I'm gonna blow?
Yeah.
And you didn't stick the pipe, oh I see, you stuck it a little bit in.
Yeah, I kept it further back than I did last time. But yeah, I think that's about the right spot right there.
Okay. I couldn't find my thicker gloves. I think they're at Fat Meat Farm, so one of us will have to work and the other just for protection stand in the way. So we're keeping this on time so that we have a measure of how long this takes. You probably are getting bored. It's like watching paint dry or grass grow or aluminum smelting getting ready. So we want to have a record of how long this procedure takes, because on open house here at Rosebud, we want to do several of these. Russell Watchus has suggested we dig one right into the sand so that you see the sand level there in a bucket. You don't really need that if you're in the sand. And then put some bricks around to make the retort. And so we could have an underground one with a pipe going down through. Then we'd have this that you make from a bucket. We're going to need several, given the amount of aluminum that we'll be collecting. But I understand, what did you say, Paul, 32 cans or 35 cans is?
34 cans will make a pound of aluminum.
And a pound would fill about what size of mold?
I'm thinking that it will be about maybe like 40% of the crucible. So
there's the crucible there. This was an old fire extinguisher, right? And you checked that it was steel by taking a magnet, and the magnet stuck to it, and that's how you knew that you had a steel rather than aluminum. So you had to use an aluminum one. That wouldn't work since we're melting aluminum. Aluminum, by the way, aluminum melts at about 650 Celsius, or in Fahrenheit, 1220 Fahrenheit. I know it's a little above 600 because in Egypt we melted aluminum with the Zebulun community using big Fresnel lenses that we'd gotten shipped that had originally been on televisions, big screen televisions, and that focused the sun down to the size of about a quarter, and that was over 600 degrees, and it melted aluminum and antimony that we had, but of course it didn't melt copper or brass or anything like that, which is about twice that. Okay, wait, something's going on here. He's backing it up.
Just real quick, we're gonna put the crucible in now. I want to take this large coal out.
Take these gloves.
Oh, yeah. Without the blower going, it's basically just a barbecue grill.
Okay.
But with the blower going, it can get quite hot. And I'm just gonna set that there now. Oh, yeah.
So you discovered, maybe we need the other crucible? Oh, that's what. You want the other tongs? So you discovered that you have to prepare a bed of hot coals for this to work. That was your discovery the other day.
That's right.
Place that in the center.
There we go. And now
Okay.
we have to fill around the outside with new charcoal, not in the middle. That's one thing we gotta keep it from going in the middle.
Oh, we have aluminum.
That's good.
Oh, you wanna let's put this there. I know. It's a bit hot.
Here, let me try it.
Okay. And if it falls in, who cares? It's aluminum. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, maybe just stuff it. Okay. Handy aluminum foil in an aluminum smelting forge. I love these pieces of biochar that Russell made here at Rosebud. He said he's going to start using some of the plastic that we have.
Probably good right there.
Yeah, you don't want to put, well, that's too hot to pick up.
Just grab one big piece of charcoal out of there. Now,
You don't need it evenly packed around. It's not an issue. Because
no, I think it would be preferable to have it evenly packed around for sure.
Okay, well, let me just put some other pieces of char here. Now I don't want to get my fingers in there. Okay.
You think we should throw a little lighter fluid on there?
Yes, I do.
Alright, good. Where is that?
At some point real soon it's going to burst into flames, isn't it?
Alright, yep.
Okay. You want me to light?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It's amazing to me that you can do this type of forging with a hair dryer as your bellows. You know, I mean, back in the day, they'd be sitting pressing the bellows, and you think of our medieval ancestors who were doing all the work, making swords, making, you know, horseshoes, making buckles, whatever, everything doing hand bellows and very primitive equipment. And now we think we're in a crisis age when we can't recycle and we have so much garbage. And even though, yes, aluminum cans are recycled, it turns out that only about 30 to 40% make it to recycle in the United States. The rest end up by either in landfills or on roadsides or in the ocean, on the beaches. So it's our goal here at Rosebud to teach people in a responsible way to take care of their own SHIT. It's your shit. Sorry, why am I spelling it and then saying it as if I'm embarrassed to say it? But you know, take care of your own stuff. You brought it, you're responsible for it. Be an adult. Even if you're a kid, be an adult. Man up, woman up. You buy stuff, you bring it home. Don't make it somebody else's problem. Deal with it at home or in your community, your school, your church or synagogue or mosque or temple, community spaces. We should be bringing our so-called garbage to spaces all over our community that turn them back into value instead of hauling them away with big trucks and fossil fuels and massive expense, when in fact we can we can be reprocessing, repurposing everything within our communities. I just read about in Sweden a new supermarket shopping mall that opened up, and all it sells is recycled items. Everything is either made locally by people out of recycled material, or it's hand-me-down, second-hand. But that's the whole shopping mall, and they sell at a good discount price with enough markup that people can make a living doing it, and everything stays in the community. And some stuff is brought from outside the community that would have gone into a landfill or been shipped to a developing country for little kids to be condemned to being rag pickers, trying to sort through in dangerous ways. So take care of your shit. Take care of your own shit. It's yours. You bought it, you own it. Don't give it away, don't throw it away. Hang on to it like we're doing. You know, this is my wife and I not throwing away anything. We don't throw away glass, metal, plastic, even the dirty plastic we wash, because all the organic schmutz that's on it goes into our biodigester. You can see the big dragon over there. That's the first of the Red Hot Dragons. It's otherwise known as Pete's Dragon, which stands for Prokaryotic Affluent Treatment Energy System Dragon, using prokaryotic organisms, the archaea, microbes, to break down all of our organic residuals, and that includes animal waste, human waste, and food waste, and yard waste, turn it into biogas. Here we're using biochar made from the branch trimmings and soon to be made out of some of the polyethylene that we have, made by Russell Waters here on site. He's a member of our community who's just down the way, just a neighbor of ours who's working with the effort here. And here's Paul, who's comes from a long and proud line of people in the metal recycling industry, the metal working industry, and now is a student at Patel College of Global Sustainability. And does it look like we're getting close there?
Yeah. Well, what we're seeing is this uneven heat right now from the blower side, where it's burned up most of the charcoal on this side.
Mm-hmm.
You look down there, you can see that it's red hot on that side down there.
Yes, it is.
So we're gonna have to add a little bit of charcoal, because eventually this other side is gonna get that hot, but this side on the blower, it's not gonna get any charcoal left.
Right.
So we're gonna add a little bit to this side until that other side gets hot too.
It is where you want to wear some gloves.
Yeah. Yeah. Gloves.
Well, there's those metal gloves there. You can be the cameraman if you want, and I can do these things.
Okay.
So you got the glove on.
Out right here.
So I now note to self, we should probably have a hammer and a cinder block so that we can smash up sizes that we want normally, right? That would help. Meanwhile, one thing that I want to do is I think we could cast this. That would be an interesting
What is
cast.
that?
It's a hose.
Looks like it's brass.
It is, but we can cast it. What I mean is what I'll do is maybe we dig this into the ground and then pour and see what happens. Although there's not a lot, not easy to dig in the ground here. In that case, let me do it a different way. Maybe we can half cast it. Just want to see what happens if we use the ground as our, you know? Oh, it's like there's a clay under here. Wow. That was a rockish
I
sort
think
of.
we're just about ready.
For to put some cans in. Okay. I'm just gonna put this like this and then pull it out. Just want to see what happens if it's even feasible to use the ground to make our molds. If I pull that out, yeah, that's not. In that case, let's just be artistic and let's just make something like this and pour it right in the ground. See if we can make a spoon. That's what I'll try to do. Ow. All right. Something tells me somebody should be wearing the apron.
Cans.
Apron. Other glove. Hold on a second. Put this down here a second. Just keep them sparkling. All right. I have another thing to also we can pour into. I bought this graphite mold.
Oh, perfect.
So put that by there. And let's try it in this little impression that I made for a kind of spoon, if we get enough. But otherwise we have this right here to pour on.
You want to do the honors on the first can?
Yes, sure. Down she goes. Starting to move.
Oh, she's good and hot.
Woo! I guess if we keep adding them, it's a good thing, right? Because that'll increase the heat. That's 3 cans. Four cans.
It's good.
Is that 4 so far?
It's 4.
So did the cutting of the crucible, was that the right cut?
I think it was probably about right.
Was that the paint burning in there?
Yeah.
I might keep a respectful distance in case something pops.
When it melts, you'll start to hear it. It almost like boils.
Really?
Yeah.
It's 5. Wow, it's hot over there, even
No,
with these thin gloves.
It's See, I think that we need more holes. You notice it's not red on the side anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just red in that corner.
Right. So what you lift the, oh yeah, it fell over. So we really need sticks of char.
I can go grab a bag.
Yeah. I didn't. Sorry. Aluminum can smelting and casting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep, that's neat.
Yeah. It's Russell's biochar. We got to figure out a better way to get the char in. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter how many times you turn it on and off, right? I mean, it's just going to remelt.
Yeah.
So you just lose time and energy, right? You want me to move this thing toward the center? Oh, it's hard to move because these things are in the way. And yet, this is good to have in here. Can't move it as long as these things are there.
And maybe you gotta pull those out, straighten it up.
Okay.
Try to There, now it's pretty much straight.
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore, you're right.
Okay. Do you think it'd be better to have a wider space around these?
Yes, I do.
So these cans that we used are not the ideal. It should be a larger bucket, right?
Well, the fire extinguisher is larger than the one that was recommended.
Ah.
I think that's one of the main issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about 1.5 inches in diameter larger.
So use your fingers. Use either that piece of biochar or use the tongs. Now the char that gets in with the aluminum, it'll come out as slag, right? Because of a different density.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what that other piece is. It's a lot of
That's slag.
material. How's this biochar made?
He has a retort over there on the other side, and it's anaerobic. So he has a jacket that he fills with a combustible material, and then the inside he puts the stuff he wants to char, and then he gets it up to a certain temperature and seals it so it's anaerobic, so it can't finish combustion, and then that's what makes it char. And it retains a lot of its energy because it wasn't completely combusted, so it has the carbon in it that hasn't been turned into CO2, it hasn't been fully oxidized, right?
Right.
But what's nice about doing this is you get a feel for it. Like you get a feel for the safety issues, and as you said, now that the blower's off, it's basically just a fire pit. Right?
Yeah, it's just a barbecue grill.
Barbecue grill. Do you think we should throw some lighter fluid on it?
Yeah.
And do you need the lighter? Yeah.
I'm gonna need your finger.
Do you want me to light it? Okay. I guess it wouldn't hurt to put the top back on, right? Although, gotta get these big pieces out to do that. Let me get these big pieces out.
I'm gonna go to high.
Okay, go to high. So for it to be practical, it should be set up in a way where it wouldn't fall when the char, I mean, that's the issue, is that because they put the char on the bottom, it's going to tend to fall, right? So there needs to be like a holder. Like if we made a really good one,
Yeah.
the crucible would go into a holder made of stainless steel or something.
Well, so I think that in what was the
King of Random
video? I think that the fire extinguisher that he used had a flat bottom.
Mhm.
This one has a concave bottom.
Right.
So the side heat in his video, it's not only a smaller diameter, so it can get to the bottom, but
Mhm.
because this one's concave, the
But yeah, the char is
bottom
collapsing
is
it.
below where the heat on the side is because there's an air gap underneath.
Yeah, which is an insulator.
So I think ultimately a better crucible,
Which
smaller.
I sent for. So I
Yeah.
got the graphite one.
You know what the diameter was of that one?
A little bit smaller than that.
Yeah, it'll work perfect. I think.
Because for it to be practical, you want to be able to just keep feeding cans in.
Right.
Also, when the thing was higher, before we cut it down, the lid stabilized it, probably. And now it's kind of floating in there. But it's blowing down there. Let's put a few more cans in. Pretty impressive how quickly it heats up. Okay. Careful your hand. Give me tongs. That's not going to go in. It's not either. This crushing is not the right thing for
I
it.
think this one will go.
Yeah. So if it was a tighter junction, it would retain some of that heat. I see a gap there. A lot of the heat's coming out, but it is melting. How many cans is that?
We had 4 in there before.
5.
5? So that's 3 more.
8. Let's fill it up. I'd say just keep adding them until you can't anymore, and then it'll melt, and then there'll be room. Because I think what happens is as it melts, it retains heat, transfers that heat through conduction, and so I just keep putting them in. That makes 9. How many did you use when you did yours?
5 or 6.
I just keep dropping them in. If it sticks up, it sticks up. Go for it. Keep going. So that would make
10. Oh wow.
Yeah, cool. All right. Here, you hold this.
Wife's calling.
Yeah, my wife and I live here, and we keep all of our garbage. We keep it for at least a year at a time.
Your first name is?
TH.
TH, okay.
And
All
so we're going to start recycling plastic, recycling aluminum, recycling glass. We have a microwave glass kiln.
Yeah.
So I'm making objects out of broken glass bottles, fuse them together and make stuff. And it's to teach the school kids all the different principles of community sustainability.
Yeah, I think we burned up
All the char?
char on this side.
Okay. Well, it's
Well, you're not using gas, you're just using
biochar. This is biochar that Russell
Yeah.
watches. You know
Yeah.
Russell? He makes the stuff for us here
okay.
out of the local wood, branches and stuff. So you think, yeah, I got to get char in. Let me try to pull this piece out and, yeah, get those tongs.
Here, I'll pull this side over.
Hmm.
Let's see if this I can. Maybe I'll move some of this material this way.
Oops, shoot.
Oh, good catch.
Put that in there. It's not falling apart. So we got to do another fill, is what we got to
We're gonna have to do another fill.
do. Should we cover it with something?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're working on this project here with the Osprey?
I was just driving by, I'm too dressed. Yeah, you get dirty.
You live in the area?
I do,
Oh, excellent.
down the road.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're doing the biodigesters there. That Dragon's Head, that's a biodigester that takes
Yeah.
barrels of food waste. And then the 2 other biodigesters, the wishing well with the solar panels and the windmill is another biodigester half buried. Then there's one on the right to that.
It's like something out of the apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, we got a guy from the community who was in the military, Steve. He comes
Steve?
over,
Yeah.
Steve, right? And we got Russell's in the community. It was
Jerry,
yeah, Jerry. Oh, you know everybody then.
everybody except for you.
Okay.
You're the new guy.
Yeah. I've been my wife and I live in the off-grid RV. That's my wife over there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we it's all self-installed solar electric panels, solar hot water that's self-built by the students and us. The biogas, of course. And yeah, we bring our students like Paul from the Patel College at USF.
Uh-huh.
It's a College of Sustainability, and so students come and they, as you know, they volunteer. Jerry was one of mine. So
Okay.
yeah,
Wow. So you're the actual doctor.
yeah.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
the doctor.
I couldn't remove
thought
the kidney.
Jerry was the doctor.
Well, he will be. He was a great student
Yeah.
and a great. We both share a missionary passion that informs us, and so there's science and faith at the same time operating here. And so I think
Right,
it's
it's right up my alley because
Yeah.
the last 10 years I've been doing. I've recycled. I want to say over 50 million pounds of clothes and shoes.
really.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where do you recycle them? To where?
out of Massachusetts.
Uh-huh.
I started up a bunch of nonprofit companies or help people to learn about clothing recycling and how important it is, and you know, give back to organizations
Can I
like.
film you saying that, or do you want to be off camera?
I don't
Oh,
matter.
okay,
Boys
okay.
and Girls Club. I did the Friendly House. I did. There's a guy in Pennsylvania. He does sports academics
Mm-hmm.
for for Virginia also.
I'm
Mhm.
thinking no
Starter fluid.
starter fluid
Okay.
this time. Just to hopefully it won't burn up as fast. Oh, maybe.
So that is a Massachusetts accent I'm hearing.
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, Massachusetts. Welcome.
Yeah, no, I went to college there. 5 years I spent in Massachusetts.
Oh, what part?
I was at Harvard, so it's
Okay.
Cambridge, and then I lived in where did I live? Was it called Somerville?
Oh,
Somerville.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a nice town.
Yeah,
Beautiful there.
I was up there.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, it was a good place.
Lots
My
of fun
girlfriend
right
went
now,
to BU.
'cause it's, you know,
I know,
10 degrees out, but-
freezing. That's when I left. I got really sick when one of those terrible winter storms, and a buddy of mine said, "Come visit me for a week in California." And I went to visit him, and I never left. Just stayed.
Day,
It's like,
right?
I can't go back to Boston.
Nah.
Right? That's crazy. So maybe given the time and the fact that I have to go to this meeting, maybe what we'll do is we'll just let this be the melt.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah,
Before.
so, you know, it all falls in. It's all, you know, I mean, clothes are poison. You don't
Yeah,
know it.
yeah.
The dyes are toxic.
Yes.
Even during the Civil War, all the textiles that were put in the ground, they haven't broken down.
Is that right?
The only reason why I know that is firsthand at the Kennebec Lofts in Massachusetts. I was a foreman on a property, and it was a textile mill for union clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and they put them in the ground, and the only thing that grew over them was moss. So when you walk on it, you bounce,
Right.
and when you rip it open, you find the fibers in the shoes, and they're still there.
And these were organic fibers at that time.
At that time,
Now
it
we
was
got
mostly cotton.
nylon, polyester, and
No way, right? So
Right.
now you figure, I mean, I would think the worst part is during the, I would say the 50s through the 80s
hmm
when the population grew.
yeah,
You're talking even up to 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 300 million pounds of clothes going on landfills.
right, right.
The plastic breaks down faster than the clothes,
Isn't that interesting?
and the clothes cost more money to make than the plastic
Right,
because you got to use water to grow the cotton,
that's right.
and then
And they're using pesticides and fertilizers and
oh
herbicides.
my
There's a
gosh!
whole value
How
chain.
much negative energy is used to make positive energy? You
Yeah.
gotta balance that out.
Right,
There's more negatives than positives.
yeah. So we should definitely be, I mean, I've always tried to wear hand-me-downs, and people criticize me sometimes because I'm always looking somewhat threadbare.
Right.
But I don't want to buy new clothes if I can, you know. I don't know.
It's a society, 60s, 70s, hand-me-downs,
Right,
you know, hemming the clothes, stitch
Right.
patches, and then somewhere that I want to be a material girl came
Yeah.
into effect,
that's a good way of putting it.
and nobody, even the poor people, don't want to wear
Right,
poor clothes. They want new stuff.
right. That's
They
right.
want, you know, they want the latest Adidas, the latest
Right.
Nikes.
And because we exploit the heck out of people in other countries making the clothes in those terrible sweatshops,
Slave
then the
shops.
prices, right, slave shops, and they come and you buy them at Walmart for very cheap, and you think that there's something magical that you can have clean new clothes, but
Right.
somebody's suffering for that.
Suffering, absolutely
Really,
suffering.
that
India,
collapses, right? With the collapses of buildings, the conditions are so bad, and it killed
my
all those
gosh.
women.
It's bad.
Yeah, and I saw that documentary on the clothing industry. I was horrified.
Horrified.
Yep.
It's, I mean, oh, there you go.
The one thing that I'm seeing with us cutting the top off that Crucible, there's a lot more ash getting in there
Yeah.
than there was before.
Right. It needs to be tight
That
on.
lid just kept it from going in there.
So this will be interesting, though. Like all that ash, it's up at the top. Is it gonna? It's gonna always float on top of the things, right? So don't you skim off the slag? Isn't that part of the procedure?
Yeah, I guess. I know when I did it that if I stuck something down in there that you could see that it was melted, but I don't know if we've got that yet.
No,
No, I don't think so.
we are not there yet. I almost burned my finger doing that. So this is taking longer than it took you the other day.
What about a leaf blower? That might help give a little more boost.
Took about my third try.
Really?
Yeah. I think this is our maybe fourth.
If you got the other gloves, maybe I can't reach down because this glove immediately starts to burn me.
Oh yeah, I put it right here.
What if you can poke down, maybe down at the bottom? It's not glowing red hot anymore though.
Yeah, just on that side.
Is it on that side?
Where it's at.
So that means because the char is not ignited, maybe?
It's hard to say.
I don't even see it melting.
Oh yeah, you have some melted down in there.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see the molten.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
See that?
Yep.
It's just the uneven heat is the real problem. You can't do anything with just one side of melted aluminum. You need to have it on all sides.
When I wasn't looking, when you you packed it around again, so we're just waiting for that to heat up.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm just not looking promising. I don't know.
No, it's going. Hello. This is Doug, right?
Guy,
Guy, sorry.
nice to meet you, Ennis.
He's a neighbor.
About a mile down the road, east side.
He's from originally Massachusetts.
Yeah,
A lot of
Massachusetts.
clothing recycling.
Yeah.
The Nazis, Palestine.
Oh, مرحبا كيفك؟
لماذا تتكلم عربي؟
A little bit. I mean, you know, the neighborhood I grew up in was a lot of Lebanese and you know, nice restaurant I used to go to and eat all kinds of Middle Eastern food and
Picked up the phrases.
pick up on it a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I haven't said that in a long time since I've been here because I don't see, you know, anybody.
So stir around a bit. See what's happening now.
You definitely have a little bit of.
So it looks like that
Molten down
top
there.
piece there is like a slag that came off the top, right? That's not a piece of
So-
aluminum, is it?
I mean, should we pull this off and try to pour what's in there?
Yeah,
It's melted.
yeah. So I have to go to the meeting anyway. That is kind of a slag, isn't it? That isn't. I think a nice thing about aluminum is it's the most abundant metal in the Earth's crust, and it's what helps make clay clay. So it's not like it's a terrible toxin. I know there is aluminum toxicity. You don't want to eat it, but it does. It is part of the Earth's crust, part of the soil, part of the clay matrix. So better to have it like here than have it be going into a landfill. Better if it could be completely recycled.
Right.
What is it? Did they get it from bauxite or is that iron?
Bauxite, that's aluminum.
Okay.
I didn't know that Florida did any recycling. It seems like everybody just throws everything all in one.
Yeah, Florida's
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you're going to be able to do.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Why is
I
that?
just keep, I think as I move it around, it gets up into the cooler air and then amplifies it.
And this stuff here, it's very still hot. Sure. That's still aluminum, right?
Yeah.
But you actually poured an ingot. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So I know that you were successful with this very thing. So the variable that changed,
I don't know if it's because I was using chunks like this. Maybe they didn't this fast.
when you did yours, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we're using the
Powdery stuff.
powdery stuff, and it just, I mean, we've changed it out, 4 times, and it's only lasting like 4 or 5 minutes at the most.
Right. So that's
Well, when I had this, I was able to burn it for like 20 minutes before.
and weren't you using? You weren't using biochar. You were using commercial charcoal. Weren't you?
I was using the I don't know, whatever this charcoal is called.
Mm-hmm. So that's got to be the variable that's that this experiment has shown makes it
not the
unfeasible.
Kingsford kind, but
Mhm.
like wood charcoal.
Which then implies that we need a bigger gap between the crucible and the thing, so you can stuff it with that.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, let's see what we can pour. I mean, I do see some molten stuff down there.
I didn't see any more.
Oh,
Once I started moving it around, I think it firmed up. But I can try to pour it,
all right.
see what
Yeah.
happens.
See what happens.
Okay. You got that little thing? Little graphite thing?
I just say pour it right into here. Looks like it went hot enough, didn't it? But you're right, it's so dirty with all the dust and charcoal that came in.
And right there. Let me shut this off.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that little piece right there. That's all we got. Oh, that's pathetic. That was our whole thing. 10 cans to get that.
Get that little bit.
No way.
Well, this is all the rest of it. It got contaminated with so much of the char that we don't have be careful, don't go near that. We don't have any good molten aluminum.
What
So-
are these?
That's a mixture of char, dust, and aluminum that melted. So are these here. You can see the bit of the
But why you mixed it with
can. Well, we didn't mean to mix it with charcoal. It's just there's a gap. When we cut the crucible here, we had to cut it down a bit because it wasn't fitting to let char under it. Then there was a gap, and the gap let the char flow in. So we have to make a better crucible. I ordered a crucible that'll work.
Yeah.
Trial and error, right?
Yes, it is. You learn the technique. That's why the masters were the masters.
If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
So
Yeah,
this is it, Tia?
that's it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
That's not all of it. I mean, it's all there and there and there, but that's the only pure piece. We'll get there.
do you want to take it as a souvenir?
He made a nice one the other day.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh yeah, sure. This is what he made,
That's nice.
and that was with only 5 cans, and this was 10, and we got this mess.
When did you do that?
Monday,
Here?
No, we
No,
did it at home.
you-
Jacksonville.
So you have the same.
Using the same
This
setup,
is-
using
this
exactly
one.
this.
This is yours.
Yeah. But the
Oh.
difference is that he used big pieces of char like this, and we were using all this powder and small pieces. And I think you're right. It
Yeah,
just
sure.
it was.
This is yeah. So what do you think? What was wrong here?
I think need to use the bigger pieces of charcoal. It won't put as much sparks and dust and won't burn as fast. I think that's really the problem, is that it burns so fast.
Yeah.
and then you have the uneven heating. That's the problem. You know what? I think one of the setups had more than
Two
one blower,
blowers. Yes.
and I'm almost like
Yeah, we need.
just drill right through the other side and
Yep.
hook up another one.
Yep, I think that's right.
So
That's cool.
All right, I'm going to sign off from this, and I'll have to go to work. Thank you, everybody, for being part of our experiment. And
This is yours.
that's mine.